Penn State. Wow. Feels like this is everyone's sleeper team to really wake up. And look, James Franklin, I know people hate on him, but why? I don't know why. How many look, you go play in the same division as Michigan and Ohio State. See what happens. I think he's been perfectly competitive. I think they had a bad COVID year. That's really it. Like otherwise they've won at least 8, 9 games every year. I can't say that for a fact, but look, they've been good. They've been competitive. They lose Sean Clifford. And I can't believe the Packers took Sean Clifford. That is it's so funny. Obviously, Sean Clifford is a veteran, right? And CD, as a Minnesota fan, knows all about veteran quarterbacks in college football.
And beating Sean Clifford too, no big deal.
And beating Sean Clifford, but then losing to him last year. But Drew Aller, however you want to pronounce that. He could be the real deal. I think people are projecting him to be a monster. I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet, but look, they did lose Joey Porter. They lost Juice Scruggs. They lost Strange at tight end. So they lost some guys, but they got a lot of guys back. Is there reason to believe? Well, look, there's a lot of reason to believe that this team will be a lot better. The question is how much better? Over under 9.5. What are you thinking?
This to me is a play. This is my mega play. This is my lock of the Big Ten. I think I'm taking the over here with Penn State. I was shocked to see this line not at 10 even. Because I think worst case scenario, you get Iowa at home, which is awesome. You get your crossover games. Iowa, you got to go to Illinois, which is not going to be easy. And then you get Northwestern. So, but you get Iowa at home. Other than that, you're out of conference is West Virginia, who's terrible. And then you have to go to Ohio State and you get Michigan at home. So, like, worst case scenario, I see 10-2 right there. This team is going to be better than last year, I think. Drew Aller raises the ceiling of that offense and the quarterback position there. Big body dude, great arm strength, can run, do everything Sean Clifford can do and more. The problem is the ups and downs will happen there. He definitely likes to push the ball down the field because he has that crazy arm. So they might, run into some problems. But also when you have, a young quarterback, it's nice to have 2 stud running backs that are coming back. Nick Singleton and Kay Allen. I took Nick Singleton as my guy in the Big Ten as a running back in a running backs draft. But Kay Allen somehow stayed there at Penn State to be the backup there. He actually got more carries than Nick Singleton, which is kind of interesting. But Singleton's more of a big play guy. And then Trey Potts is also, a third back there. Their O-line is great. Olu is back. Somehow he could be a first-round pick. They're centers in the NFL, which is fine. They had a bunch of injuries last year, so a ton of guys got playing time.
And they were still good last year. And they were still good on the offensive line.
Yeah, and the guy like Drew Shelton, who should not have played last year, but was forced into playing, was awesome for them, stepping in at left tackle. He's a sophomore. He's your third tackle. And so if you need to go down, he's going to be fantastic. In the wide receiver position, yes, Mitch Tinsley and Parker Washington and Brent Strange at tight end. Tough losses, for sure. But Keandre Lambert-Smith, did you watch the Rose Bowl? Because I did. He was awesome. Dante Cephas, my guy from Kent State, is there now. He hasn't gotten there yet. He'll be there he's there in December. Wasn't there for spring. He's awesome. Your third spot's your question mark, but it's not like you don't have guys that can play that spot. You got Harry Wallace, good player, third-year guy who's had time. Omari Evans, who's a freak that they like a lot, that had a great spring, is kind of making a move that third spot. And I also want to give a shout out to Christian Driver, name drop Donald Driver. That's his kid. They like him too. He's a younger guy, a redshirt freshman. And that tight end position is great. Yes, Brent Strange was the guy last year. Really highly productive tight end, went to the NFL. But Theo Johnson, scouts were already talking to him about the NFL, even while he was the backup there. Tyler Warren, a guy they like too. And then a freshman, got to keep your eye out for. Might not play a ton of snaps every game, but when he does, look out for him. It's Andrew Rapallo. Apelia, he's a true freshman coming in, freak athlete. He's gonna play tight end for him. Might take him a year or two to develop, but if they want to get some, special packages, drop some plays for him, it would not surprise me one bit to get the ball in his hands, as he is a huge mismatch.
Yeah, I like this offense. I really do. For all the reasons that you said. Let me bring up the defense real quick. Defensive line, they lost PJ Mustafer. Sure, he's an NFL guy. That's it in the front seven. That's it. Everyone else is back. You love Chop Robinson. You love Isaac Adisa. You love Devon Ellis. You love Abdul Carter's really good at linebacker. You like Tyler Elston. I mean, and then in the secondary, I mean, Kalen King. Do I have to say it? Do I even need to say it? He is a very freaking good football player. And the only concern that I have about this secondary, especially at corners, that they're not really that big. So a team like Ohio State could find themselves taking advantage of some of those matchups on the outside. Marvin Harrison Jr. might have a field day, but that doesn't mean that like Kalen King can still handle himself. I mean, he did last year. So I'm now you lose Joey Porter. Yes, you do. But I still think in the aggregate, the secondary can be quite productive. So I'm pretty big. I'm pretty high on these guys. Maybe their interior isn't amazing. I like Devon Ellis, but I don't know. Maybe they're not amazing interior wise, but come on.
They're upperclassmen, no.
And yes, they're the same guys. It's the same guys. I'm with you. I'm also taking the over 9.5. Forgot to mention that.
Well, thanks for riding with me there. I think the D-line is interesting. Okay, you got obviously those four guys that are your top guys for sure. You mentioned them, Chop Robinson and Adisa Isaac on the edges. Hakeem Bowman and Devon Ellis are both smaller guys on the interior, but they're good. Cozy Izzard is a good player too, upperclassman, fourth-year guy. The guy you got to keep an eye out for is Zane Durant. Twitchy dude. You saw him play meaningful snaps as a true freshman on the defensive line. That tells you something. That's how you know that they're high on this kid. And then an interesting name is Caleb Artis. I don't know how much he's going to play, but if you do need a guy to stop the run, he's your biggest defensive tackle. Worst case scenario, you get him out there on 1st and 10 or whatever. If you do need some run stuff and beef there, I'd like this defense a lot. Johnny Dixon's a good player across from Kalen King. Will they match up with Ohio State and Michigan? Sure. I think Curtis Jacobs and Abdul Carter have the chance to be really, really disruptive. Really, really disruptive. Their interior guys are good too. Tyler Ellison, Kobe King, even Tony Rojas as an early freshman. And Penn State's also a team, they do a really good job of identifying freshmen that can play early as impact guys, and not even guys that enroll early, but come on at summer and then the fall camp, ball out and contribute heavily to this team, like Abdul Carter did. So we'll see what happens this year. Do they need that? No, because they don't really have any holes on this roster. But would it be nice if one of these freshmen pops off, and is a big success for him, like Nick Singleton was, like Abdul Carter? Yes, that'd be awesome. So we'll see. That's why the 10 over 9.5 is, I think, a great play.
Yeah, I will say, like, I know you mentioned that the schedule isn't crazy. It's not crazy, but I do think Iowa is not a perfect draw. I do think at Illinois is a sneaky problem for you, especially up front. Like, that's going to be like literally heavyweights. Like, if you want to watch a game where it's just an absolute knuckle sandwich, watch Illinois' D-line versus Penn State's offensive line. It's going to be awesome.
And those running backs. Absolutely. The problem is you're breaking in Drew Allar. Now, Illinois is also breaking in Luke Altmaier, but he's got some more experience than Drew Allar does, and they won't ask as much from him as Penn State will from Drew Allar, or they expect from Drew Allar. But yeah, it'll be tough. That first road game is always tough.
But Iowa's the whiteout game, so I'm not super concerned, I guess. Yeah. So I really like this team a lot. No, I don't have anything else to say. What about you?
What do you think Vegas does about whiteout games? Do they add points at all? They have to, right?
They should,
Half a
yeah.
point,
They
a
have
point
to.
or two.
They probably do. They probably do. Because
That's
what
all
was
I'm
what was Penn State favorite against Minnesota last year?
It was I think it was like I want to say like 17 and a half or something like.
Yeah, it was like a large number, and I
And they
was looking at
covered.
it. Yeah, and they covered. I was looking at it like I don't think I took it just because it's a whiteout game. Again, Vegas accounting for that. So
Yeah.
if I'm accounting for it, they're accounting for it. That's what I'll say. So I'm glad that we're both on this over here. So
Do you see a scenario where they win the East?
I do see a scenario. Yep. I see a scenario where they I think it's hard to say. I mean, they got
2-0 against Michigan and Ohio State will be tough unless they are just a wagon and Drew Lar is cooking.
well, they could go
But
1-1 and still win the East.
that's what I'm saying. Where one of the other teams could slip up and then they win the three-way tie or like whatever it is. So yeah, that'd be really interesting. I'm rooting for them. I think this is this conference, this division is good. 3 guys that are probably top 10 in power rankings and should be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is if you want value, I mean, this is probably the most value that you're going to get taking a conference champion in the Big Ten. You can get Penn State at plus 600. So for reference, Michigan and Ohio State are like plus 165 on DraftKings. So now you could probably get better odds somewhere else, but just for reference, right? If you're looking for some value there, so it's plus 600. You can get a better deal somewhere else, but that I'll just leave it at that.
Friendly reminder to always shop lines. Never settle for the worst line.
Never settle